HOA Karen let her dog maul my nephew. Then I made her crawl for mercy. She called it trespassing. So, she ordered a dog to attack my 12-year-old nephew. No leash, no warning, just blood on the grass and a smile on her face. But she had no idea who his uncle was. I didn't call the cops. I built a case. I uncovered the lies, and I turned her HOA kingdom into a courtroom battlefield. She thought she'd walk free. Instead, she walked in a vest with a trash picker in front of the same neighbors she once ruled. This isn't just a lawsuit, it's war. And by the time it ends, she'll be the one begging for rules. Stay to the end, because justice doesn't bark, it bites. The shortcut was harmless. Max took it every afternoon, crossing the neatly trimmed HOA lawn like 100 neighbors before him. It shaved 2 minutes off his walk from school. He always stayed on the edge, never stepping on flower beds, never leaving trash, just a quiet, respectful 12-year-old boy with a backpack and a gentle gait. But that day, Claire Williams was watching. The self-appointed queen of our neighborhood, blonde bob, oversized sunglasses, clipboard like a weapon, stood on her porch like a predator scenting prey. Her eyes locked on Max with disgust, as if he'd just defaced a monument instead of simply walking home. She didn't call out. She didn't ask him to stop. She whistled. And that's when it happened. From behind her iron gate, a blur of tan muscle and rage exploded into motion. A Belgian Malinois, lean, unrestrained, and unmuzzled, launched across the lawn with military precision. Max turned, confused at first. Then he ran, but it was too late. The dog caught him mid-stride, knocking him down hard. A scream tore from his lungs as teeth sank deep into his thigh. Blood sprayed across the perfect green. And Claire laughed. I heard about it before I saw it. The phone rang while I was cleaning out the garage, the hospital. Max was in the ER. Dog attack, lacerations, potential nerve damage. I drove like a man possessed. When I arrived, I found him shivering under a heat lamp, his leg bandaged and swollen, and 4 taped to his arm. He looked up at me, not with fear, but with shame, as if he'd done something wrong. She said I trespassed, he whispered. She said I deserved it. I clenched my fists, my jaw locked so tight I could hear it pop. She what? I growled. That's when the nurse handed me a clipboard with the incident report. The witness stated that the HOA president authorized a canine response for repeated boundary violations. K-9 response. For a kid walking home. I stormed out of the hospital and straight to the scene. The grass was still stained. There were no cones, no tape, no apology. Just Claire standing across the street, arms folded, talking to another board member like nothing had happened. You proud of yourself? I barked as I stepped onto the lawn. Claire didn't flinch. She turned slowly, lips curled in that signature smirk. Maybe now your nephew will learn, she said. Rules are rules. You sick tyrant, I snapped. You unleashed an animal on a child. That child ignored posted signs. This isn't a public park. It's private property. I took one step closer, voice cold as steel. You think you can hide behind your bylaws and clipboards? You assaulted a minor. I swear I'll burn your paper castle to the ground. Claire scoffed. But for the first time, I saw a flicker in her eyes. Not defiance. Not superiority. Fear. You'll regret threatening me, she hissed. No, I said, stepping back, breathing deep. You'll regret ever laying eyes on that boy. I turned and walked away, not because I was done, but because I was just getting started. Behind me, the wind blew through the leaves like whispers of judgment. Blood was still on the grass, and justice was already in motion. I didn't sleep that night. Not a second. Instead, I sat at my desk with a mug of cold coffee and the medical report on Max's injuries. Deep punctures, possible tendon damage, high risk of infection. And then the worst line. Owner refused to provide proof of rabies vaccination. Claimed dog was above reproach. Claire Williams above reproach. That's how she's always seen herself. Untouchable. Invincible. Untethered by the consequences that govern the rest of us. But I know dogs. I've studied their behavior for decades. I've trained them, rehabilitated them, treated them. That animal wasn't reacting. It was obeying. So I went digging. Before sunrise, I was already parked outside the HOA headquarters, a flimsy trailer posing as authority. I demanded the security logs. At first, they resisted. Then I showed them my state vet ID and the legal consequences of obstruction. They caved. The footage was grainy but damning. Max walking along the edge of the grass. Claire standing near her porch, dog leashed. She watched him, waited, and then a deliberate flick of her wrist. A command. The dog bolted. She didn't move. Didn't call it back. But she did smile. That was the moment something inside me snapped. Later that morning, I marched to the county animal control office. No license on file, no rabies certificate. The dog wasn't registered, wasn't vaccinated, wasn't legal. I filed the formal complaint with evidence. Then I went home and printed the still frames, one by one. Claire's face. The leash. The second she unleashed violence like it was her birthright. When I called her, she didn't pick up. So I left a message. You used a living weapon on a child, and you did it with a smile. You want war, Claire? You just picked the wrong damn family. I taped the footage to my wall. I wasn't looking at a dog attack anymore. I was looking at premeditated harm. A weaponized HOA presidency. And I wasn't going to fight this alone. Not anymore. If you think Claire crossed the line the moment she unleashed that dog, type 2 in the comments and let her know this fight isn't one-sided anymore. I didn't just want justice for Max. I wanted an audit of every wound Claire Williams had ever inflicted. And I didn't believe for a second that my family was the only one bleeding. So I started knocking on doors. Not with hope, but with intent. The first was Mr. Mitchell, a retired air traffic controller who used to sit under the massive maple tree that shaded his porch. Last year, Claire ordered him to cut it down, said the roots were interfering with the HOA's irrigation system. He protested. She fined him $900 a week until he gave in. Now, his porch bakes in silence. He didn't even hesitate when I asked. I thought I was the only one, he said, voice low. She told me if I kept talking, I'd lose my home. The second was Dana Daniels. A single mother, 2 kids, works nights at the hospital. Her daughter used to keep a small rabbit in a cage behind their shed. Claire called animal control, said it was a nuisance farm. She threatened eviction unless Dana rehomed the vermin. She made my child cry for a week, Dana whispered, and smiled when she said it. By the 5th house, I didn't need to explain. The faces that opened the door all wore the same expression, recognition and fear. They'd all seen the leash. Not on a dog, but around their necks. Claire didn't govern. She hunted. She fined a pregnant woman for hanging laundry. She humiliated a father for putting up a swing set. She dismantled a community and rebuilt it in her own twisted image, one silent punishment at a time. And the worst part? They all thought they were alone. Until now. I brought them to my house on a Sunday night. 9 of us, sitting around my kitchen table like survivors at a war tribunal. They told their stories, one after another. Not with outrage, but with the quiet heartbreak of people who had buried their voices for too long. I listened. I didn't interrupt. And when the room went silent, I stood. She picked us off one by one. But she made a mistake this time. She went after a child. My child. And now, she's not just dealing with me. She's dealing with all of us. They looked at each other, then at me, and nodded. It was no longer about bruises, fines, or fear. It was about taking back our street, our dignity, and the one truth Claire never saw coming. You can rule by fear until the fear decides to fight back. I needed proof. Not just stories, not just bruises and bitter memories. I needed hard evidence. Something that could burn through Claire's smug denials like acid. So, I went after her castle, the HOA office files. It wasn't a fortress, just a back room in the community center, locked with a keypad. Claire thought only she knew. What she didn't count on was one of the residents, Elliot, a former board member, still knowing the code. I'll take the risk, he said. If we don't stop her now, she'll outlive all of us. We entered just after sunset. No alarms, no guards. Just 2 cheap file cabinets and a dusty hard drive humming behind a row of binders. What we found? Weaponized paperwork. Fines issued without warning notices. Backdated to trap residents. HOA board meetings fabricated on paper. Minutes typed up for gatherings that never happened. There were invoices for landscaping work that never occurred, paid out to shell companies. And guess whose name showed up as the consultant for every single transaction? Claire Williams. She wasn't just a tyrant. She was a thief. I kept flipping until my hands shook. One file stopped me cold. A document titled Flagged Residents Watch List. 9 names, all of us, with notes like Dana, emotional, can be pressured, Mitchell, old, stubborn, isolate. And me? Dangerous. Watch if he starts asking questions. My blood boiled. Claire didn't just want control. She wanted dominion. She's been tracking us, I said, voice tight. Like enemies. Elliot stared at the folder, pale. She was planning something bigger. I nodded. Then we'll give her what she didn't plan for. Exposure. I scanned every document, every signature, every dirty trick. The kind of trail no court could ignore. The kind of rot no HOA could survive. When we stepped back out into the night, I looked up at Claire's house glowing across the street. I didn't see a home. I saw a throne made of lies. And I was ready to drag it down.